this is where we at, y'all. We having OTAs and all that. Yeah, I mean OTAs is cool. I'm under, I've been given some decent information. That maybe the Cowboys aren't looking at running back in particular, as far as bringing names back in. As far as bringing names back in, maybe they're not looking at running back in particular right now. I think it's important to distinguish that. Because we may hear some of our media friends, our beat writer friends come out and say, hey, man, Cowboys are out or they're out on running back. I think that's fair to kind of break down what that means. Like they are kind of out. They are kind of done. It's a wrap for running back at this point. Until we get to another point, and then now we have to figure out where we at with that point. You feel what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is we may be looking at the running back market. And look, when I say we, I mean Dallas. Dallas may be looking at the running back market right now, and maybe they don't think of Nick Chubb like the rest of Cowboy Nation thinks of Nick Chubb. I do think Cowboy Nation sees the name Nick Chubb and they get real excited. But I don't think the Cowboys get excited about the name Nick Chubb. Let me go ahead and put this up on the screen because we ain't doing nothing else. I don't think the Cowboys get excited about the name Nick Chubb in particular. Let me give y'all, there we go. Let me make me a circle. Gotta make me a circle. If you just take a look at some of the names here on the running back list, and I'm bringing up running back now because I know that's what y'all are thinking about, right? Then Cam Akers, Jeff Wilson. You kind of got Jeff Wilson at home. Jeff's older now. Jamal Williams, you know what I mean? Naeem, when did he add Miller to his name? When did Naeem Hines add Miller to his name? I don't know. Amir Abdullah, like some of these names just may not ring off or make a lot of sense to the Cowboys. J.K. Dobbins, we can talk about, but he's a guy that's always been hurt, you know what I mean? So when the Cowboys say, I think they're out on running back, I sincerely think that they mean they're out on running backs until June 1st cuts and all these teams go through the rest of their roster cuts so that we can see who the hell that they cut and we can start poaching off their practice squad. That's what it means. In my mind, that's what that means. So when you hear our beat writer friends and some of my media friends, when you hear those guys say, oh, yeah, the Cowboys are done, they're out, I definitely think that they're done right now. I'm only bringing running back up because I think running back is very important to Cowboy Nation right now. Let me add D tackle to the list, and then I'm going to give you my top 5 guys. Let me add D tackle to the list. As I go to Spotrac and look up the available D tackles here, not D-line. That's D-line again. D tackle. As I go to Spotrac and look up D tackles that are available, you're going to see a bunch of guys that are 3 techs, a bunch of guys that have played here before that we don't fool with, Jordan Phillips, and a bunch of dudes that probably aren't going to be very impactful for you. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear the Dallas Cowboys or Cowboy representatives or media folk, when you hear them come out and say, well, I don't think the Cowboys are looking for a defensive tackle in free agency, I beg you to listen to what that means. Sure, they may not be looking at defensive tackle in free agency. Free agency blows. So what I think that means is they're waiting on some dominoes to fall, just like I mentioned with running back. You know what I'm saying? I do think defensive tackle and running back are like some of your bigger needs that are left over. But at the end of the day, you just don't have the product on the streets to be able to go get it. So what I did, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come back to me real quick before I pull this up. What I did, ladies and gentlemen, I curated a top 5 list of players on the streets, not the street, but the streets.
Hear what I said?
Of players on the streets. And these are players that you can still go find. Now, mind you, I don't think you should be down on the Dallas Cowboys when they hit the streets to go find players. I think this is really some of the best movement that they actually do. When we talk about free agency, yeah, you want the Cowboys to sign free agents prior to the draft, and I'm with you. I agree. But the Cowboys going to go find Eric Kendricks and paying him $3 million, and he gives you some great football. Or them finding Carl Lawson and getting some real good football out of him. That's what I think the Cowboys are really, really good at, finding those old defensive ends, finding them old men after after OTAs and training camp is kind of started, and the old men probably don't want to do too much training camp stuff. So they kind of show up last minute almost just to get that last little bit of camp in before they get right back into it. I think you can go sign Carl Lawson right now, honestly, but Carl Lawson's not on my list. Carl Lawson would be a backup plan if the dude on my list doesn't work out or is too expensive, but Carl Lawson is available for you. All right, let's get into my top 5 free agents available. I think if you want the Cowboys to make big change, they're gonna have to wait till June 1st to see who gets cut. Or trade somebody to make sure that they're not in the market. I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge whenever we get there. All right, let's do this. My top 5 of players I think the Cowboys should go have a look at because they ain't doing nothing else. The first position, I'm gonna put linebacker up here. When I say off the ball, I hate what edge and linebacker definition has become here. But I'm gonna go with the traditional off-ball linebacker. Okay, that's what we're looking at right now. Let me share with y'all. Bam. Hey man, what the hell CJ Mosley just doing sitting around? What he doing out there just sitting around? Ladies and gentlemen, CJ Mosley made about $8.6 million last year, which is cool. Eric Kendricks was much cheaper, like I said, but I think Eric Kendricks is going to be a little more expensive this year. Eric Kendricks, it says here on Spotrac that his market value is right at about $6.8 million. I'm like, all right, if you're going to spend $6.8 million to acquire Eric Kendricks, I don't hate you throwing in another couple of dollars to go get CJ Mosley. CJ Mosley was playing some decent football with the Jets, but he got real expensive. So if Stephen Jones can make a phone call and find a way to get CJ Mosley for the cheap, then I would love to have just an extra body in this linebacker room. Overshown's kind of the guy that we're waiting on. We all got our fingers crossed for Overshown, but until then, you got Sanborn who came from the Bears with Eberflus, and Sanborn is kind of going to be what Kendricks was last year. Kendricks was the Zimmer whisperer because he's the only one that knew the defense. I think Sanborn's going to be that for Eberflus, right? But besides that, your linebackers are Kenneth Murray that I don't feel great about, but the Cowboys traded capital to go get him, so it is what it is. And then there's the idea. Yes, I'm awake to do Bleacher Report. And then, Leofau is there, right? But I don't want to just go into this thing just blind hoping. I don't want to just go into this thing just saying, okay, Leofau got to step up and Sammer's got to step up and Kenneth Murray has all of a sudden got to be good when he ain't been good at his last 2 stops. I think that's kind of crazy to me, in my personal opinion. Give me a linebacker that got skins on the wall right now, and I think CJ Mosley's that guy. But will it happen because he's too expensive? Yeah, more than likely. Stephen Jones will probably pay $1 million to Zach Cunningham or something. You know what I mean? Stephen Jones will more than likely pay a little bit of money to him, Raekwon McMillan down here for $0. You already know Stephen Jones he interested in that for the $0, but I don't think that's going to help you. But that's linebacker, ladies and gentlemen. Another position I think the Cowboys could benefit just looking at, just a character that's on the streets, not the street, but the streets, pardon me, a player that's out there on the street. I think a player that could benefit the Dallas Cowboys right now, it'll be nice to have Tyron Smith over here, but right up under Tyron Smith is Jedrick Wills. And I think it's important because Stephen Jones loves these former first-round picks, these guys that are cheap, these guys where it didn't work out with your first team. And I felt like Jedrick Wills was good for a little bit. I feel like he was really good coming out of Alabama, and I felt like he was decent in Cleveland for a little while, but something clicked and he just wasn't good in Cleveland anymore. I would love to know what happened with that, but sometimes a breath of fresh air and a new environment can change players. And it seems like Jedrick Wills' market value, his average salary market value is $2.2 million. You can't tell me Stephen Jones wouldn't want to give Jedrick Wills a shot for a 2-year, $5 million contract to where your incentives can get you up to $6 to come play left tackle for you. He'd be a fantastic backup left tackle for you right now, to where you're not having to lean on Hakeem Adeniji or Austin Richards. You got a guy that started some games, still young, 26 years old. I think that boy might be the same age as Austin Richards, or maybe like 1 year older or something like that. He just had a birthday, so yeah, he's a brand new 26 years old. Also too, just in case Tyler Guyton start messing up, you know, you got a little backup plan. You feel me? Just in case Tyler Guyton start to mess up a little out here, you would have a former first round pick behind him, and I think this would be good competition for Guyton. Just put a little fire up under him, and you know, get him moving and motivated a little bit. But that's just my own personal opinion. Get Jedrick Wills up out of there. But that's left tackle, though, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone over left tackle and linebacker. Let's go back to the offensive side of the ball and get this one out the way, ladies and gentlemen. Those should be easy. I've been making many examples on all the platforms that I've been on. I'm just kind of jumping around different platforms. And I know some people would think that is greedy or is like fantasy football, or, oh, this is Madden. You're playing too much Madden to think that the Cowboys could acquire George Pickens to go along with CeeDee Lamb, and they think it's Madden to think that the Cowboys couldn't use another receiver. Like, I'd be damned. Because what would the Eagles do? The Eagles would spend 2 first-round picks on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they'll still throw around a 3rd-round pick on Jahan Dotson, and they'll still call Julio Jones for some coffee just to kind of see what he's doing. I think this is a perfect time to call Amari Cooper and just see what he's doing. I think he'll come back here for cheaper. I think this average salary is going to go down a little bit. It says that Cooper's market value is $18 million. I think that's a bit high. I think it'll go down over time, and the market's going to adjust to that. Cooper's real market value might be around $7-8 million. If you have an opportunity to do that, I'd do it. If you have an opportunity to do that, just stop playing around and go get Amari Cooper and bring him in to play with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper at his last couple of stops have had to be wide receiver 1, and that's cool. Prior to George Pickens, I was just advocating for the idea that Amari Cooper would be a ridiculous wide receiver 2, because Amari Cooper going against cornerback 2s would be fantastic. But now you got George Pickens here, which throws a whole nother monkey wrench into the program. If you want to be unstoppable in Teflon, and I know Amari gets hurt, man, but that's cool. But that's what you got Pickens for. And I know Amari Cooper may not be all that great in road games, but that's what you got CeeDee and Pickens for, right? You want to be as Teflon as you possibly can. I understand Jalen Tolbert was just fighting for wide receiver 2. Make it to where Jalen Tolbert's fighting for wide receiver 4. Just keep competition coming. He's going to fight for wide receiver 4. Mingo's going to be around. Turpin's going to be a specialist, so he's going to take up his own spot here. And he'll play wide receiver sometimes. And honestly, man, Jalen Brooks and Ryan Flournoy, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for y'all, but I mean, the game going to be the game, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I feel. I'm going to go get Amari Cooper, and I'm going to make this wide receiver core as bulletproof as I possibly can. Everybody saying, well, Dak can't win unless he got weapons. His ass some weapons. That's where I'm at with it. Is there any tight end? I ain't even think to click and look at tight end, because tight ends just make me sick in general. Yeah, look, I'm gonna go find Gerald Everett, because he can cause some passes in the league. I'm gonna go get him and make him another weapon for Dak Prescott. Gerald Everett ain't part of my top 5, but if you feel like Dak is only good when he has a bunch of weapons around him, then make the scenario where Dak is only good. That makes sense to me. Chat, that makes sense to y'all? I don't know. Man, I started looking around some of these available characters, man. I was like, man, what the hell Von Miller still doing out here? Now, to be fair, it's a lot of edge dudes out here still. Von, Matt Judon, who will be cheap, I'd imagine at this point. Preston Smith is definitely going to be cheap. Zadarius Smith is definitely going to be cheap. Jadeveon might not be. He's been getting money for years. People going to keep paying Jadeveon Clowney, but he's available. Like I said, just for the same reasons, as I said with wide receiver, I don't think it hurts just to bring in extra talent. to bring in extra talent and just have those dudes compete and fight for their life and just see what happens and just see where the wind blows. I don't think Donovan's going anywhere. Your second round pick, Donovan Ezeraku. Of course, Dante Fowler's getting paid for 2 years, and he's going to be used properly as a double-digit sack guy coming out of Washington. Micah's not going nowhere. He's about to get paid. So why not? Dog, don't just roll over and be like, all right, man, we got Dante Fowler as Micah's running mate, so let's just sit down somewhere. Bro, man, let's load up the crib. Let's load up the car. Let's load up the car. Throw Von Miller in there too. And I understand Von Miller probably hadn't done too much. I understand Von Miller ain't the same Von Miller that he once was. But man, let's see what he do. Von Miller, and so he didn't start last year very much, but he at least played in 13 games. Von Miller got you 6 sacks in 13 games. I'll take it. Von Miller got you 16. Pardon me, he got you 6 sacks in 13 games. I'll take it. Why not? That's exactly how much you getting with Sam. That's exactly as much as you getting with Sam. Man, I call Von Miller just to see what the business is, man. Just see if he's cheap enough to do it. Just to see. And let Von Miller work around and look. Let him work on pass rush moves with Donovan Ezeraku. You know what I'm saying? Let Von Miller be the fourth pass rusher that's just hanging around somewhere. You know what I mean? Just let Von Miller just be an old man that just comes in and just it's like he'll be as an old dude, right? Because Micah got a lot of respect for him. It's like he'll lead Micah while Micah leads everybody else. That makes sense. I don't think D-Law wanted that. I think D-Law wanted to be bona fide big homie in the situation. Let Von Miller lead Micah Parsons while Micah Parsons leads everybody else. I think that'd be so crazy. That'd be so stupid, bro. Von Miller is clearly a far cry away from where he once was. You know, he's not 19 sack Von Miller anymore. His second year he was rolling out, getting 19 sacks. That's so stupid good, boy. That's so stupid good. Just, man. Then they started doubling and tripling him, and he still walked out with 15 and 13. But this is the good old days. This ain't recent. Bro, bring Von Miller in here. I know he love the Cowboys, man. Bring Von Miller in. Quit sitting on your hands, Stephen Jones. The last player I wanted to talk about is in my list of 5 players. You seen the thumbnail, and you know what time it is. You seen the thumbnail, you know what time it is. Stephon Gilmore. He's right there. I don't know why the hell Spotrac got James Bradbury way up there above Stephon Gilmore. I'm not falling for the foo-foo. I'm not going for it. Stephon Gilmore is a guy that you could probably afford. He's a guy that's familiar with the guys on your team right now. Shotty definitely knows who the hell he is. I want to say, wasn't Gilmore playing with the Colts with Eberflus? Did I make that up? Did I make up Stephon Gilmore playing with the Colts with Eberflus? Is that fake? In 2022? Matt Eberflus. Hey, yo, Flus, what you was doing in 2022? Okay, he was a Bear. Okay, so I'm reaching. But still, he knows all the guys, you know, that's in the room or whatever. And look, I tell you, bro. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Stephon Gilmore, when you wanted Deron Bland to be cornerback 1 and chasing around wide receiver 1, it wasn't always fun for Bland. Let's just keep it a buck here. And DK Metcalf kind of jumps out to you, you know? Like when Bland is covering whoever Bland is covering and he's breaking the records for pick sixes and all that, it's cool. It's fine when that's happening. But when Deron Bland was chasing around wide receiver 1s, man, we was like, hey, we'll go find Gilmore, and Gilmore come over there and save the day a little bit, right? So if it's up to me, you got this cornerback room full of talented corners. All they knees hurt.
Did you hear what I said?
Everybody knees hurt. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, the least you could do is bring in Stephon Gilmore. He'll probably be cheap enough to manage. And then we'll just let Stephon Gilmore be your bridge corner until either Kalen Carson is good, Savon Rebel, we feel good about his knee. We figure out Bland's contract, and y'all know how I've been talking about that. And of course, what we're gonna do with Stephon Diggs, whether he comes back to true form and plays well, or he gets sent to Jacksonville or something. A lot of interesting stuff is coming down the pipe there, ladies and gentlemen. But we got time. We got time to break all this stuff down. We got a couple more weeks. Cowboys got OTAs going on right now. They're gonna go on break after that. You can only imagine that my ass is going on break too. I'm going on break too when the Cowboys go on break. So after that, the season starts with training camp, and it ain't gonna stop until then. All right. What up, chat? What up, everybody in there? Hey, y'all be sure to follow me on all my platforms, man. VOCHLOMBARDI on Twitter and on YouTube. We really getting busy over there. I'm trying to get to 100,000, man. It's coming. YouTube playing around with me, but they cannot stop progress. You heard? Also doing DallasCowboys.com on Wednesdays until the regular season gets here. Then we're gonna do Monday through Fridays at 11. All right. And appreciate you, Bleach Report. Y'all download the Bleach Report app, tell a friend, and then make sure you have clicked the Dallas Cowboy tab, the NFL tab, and the NFL Draft tab, because I'll be popping out on each and every last one of those. All right, y'all hold it down with the Dosky Woski until next time, which is like Friday, 6 p.m. Central.